Sports Gaming. Glad you could join me. Don't forget, rate, like as you come in the room, subscribe if you're not subscribed, leave a comment in the comment section. Much appreciated. So, it amazes me the amount of people, experts, that are talking about this fight, Moses Atama versus Dillian White. And if you go through most, if you go through Facebook comments, Dillian might as well not just turn up. He's going to get absolutely smashed to bits. He'll get knocked out in the first round. He'll get knocked out in the first 30 seconds. He got stopped in the first round. He'll get absolutely destroyed. He'll get smashed. Moses is the heavyweight champion of the world. Moses is going to be the second coming of Muhammad Ali. Moses is everything. He's everything. He's everything. The guy hasn't even gone past 6 rounds. He's gone 6 rounds maximum. The guy hasn't done 12 rounds. He's not done 10 rounds. He's not been hit on the chin yet. He's not been hit back yet. But yet, this guy is the greatest. And it's a huge disrespect to all the other fighters out there, whether it be Dillian White himself, um, Tyson Fury, Joseph Parker, Oscar Rivas, Anthony Joshua, because all those guys that fought Dillian White didn't stop him in 2 rounds, all round. But this guy, Moses Atama, who's not gone past 6 rounds, is going to go out there and wipe Dillian White out in 1 round. Okay, great. So confident. So confident. He's going to get wiped out. He's going to get destroyed. Okay. Well, let's go to somebody who knows about boxing. Maybe let's go to his promoter for for a moment. And before we go to his promoter, this is something that I've kind of put together, and I think is the solution as to what's going on now. So we had an announcement after Usyk beat Dubois for the second time. We got a strange tweet out, and Turkey Al Make Your Fight Sheikh said the fight he wants to see next is Usyk versus Italma, not Joseph Parker. Strangely enough, Usyk versus Joseph Parker, Joseph Parker's number one contender, is not going to happen. Turkey Al Make a Fight Sheikh has said he is not interested in that fight because he is not interested, not the governing bodies, because he is not interested. We are not seeing Usyk versus Parker. Why? Because Turkey Al Make a Fight Sheikh wants to see Moses Itama fight Alexander Usyk next because he believes that Itama's got what it takes to beat Alexander Usyk. Hold on a second. Just hold that thought for 1 second. In steps Dillian White. Dillian White's the guy that obviously Derek Chisora didn't want to fight, and whoever else didn't want to fight. But Derek Chisora didn't want to fight. He said, hell no. In steps Badman, Roadman, Dillian White. He'll take anybody, he'll fight anybody because that's what he's about. And then when Derek Chisora said, nah, man, why are you taking a fight? Like, Dillian's like, whoa, hold on a second. Didn't I almost kill you in the ring? He hit Derek Chisora with a left hook and he left him sleeping on the canvas. So Derek Chisora is going to advise him on whether he should fight Moses Atama or not. Really? I don't think Derek Chisora's best place. And Dillian's correct. Why are you advising me? Who are you to advise? Tell me who not to fight. You didn't want to fight the guy himself, but I'm getting a ring and fighting him, and I knocked you out. I knocked you out clean with one left hook. So if I can land that left hook on you, I can land it on him. Anyway, moving on. So I thought, I've seen all these comments in the comment section. I've read all the stuff on Facebook. Facebook comment section when you. So I thought, right, let me listen to somebody who knows about boxing. In comes TalkSport with their interview with Frank Warren. Hi. In comes this interview with Frank Warren. So now, when they're asking Frank Warren, if you look at Frank Warren's face, if you check Frank Warren's face for one moment, and I know Frank Warren, I've known Frank Warren for years, met him personally, spoken to him a lot of times. Frank is a very shrewd businessman. Frank is a man that doesn't rush guys. This is not a Frank Warren thing. Frank Warren, when he put Daniel Dubois in, against Joe Joyce was a there was a it was a gamble. But Daniel Dubois had fought several fights and had actually been in a fight. He fought Richard Lartey and gave him a bit of a fight. So, and Daniel Dubois had done some rounds even before he fought Joe Joyce, right? And that fight was a gamble fight. And Dubois' time was a bit, I wouldn't say he's as mature as he is now. And obviously Joyce won the fight, a fight that I thought Joyce would win anyway, because he was more experienced, more seasoned, more mature, had a little bit more about him, which we saw the fight. Frank said, well, you bring him back if you lost. Frank did that. Frank knows how to match a fight, right? But these are different times. Since he signed up with the Saudi, he signed up with Turkey Al Sheikh and Riyadh Season, and the money's come in. I think what's happened here is Turkey's given Frank and said, Frank, you know what? I want Moses Atama. I want to see if Moses Atama can fight. So this fight is out of Frank's hands. Why do I say that? It's because of the way Frank's talking. Frank will tell you straight up if you think his guy's going to win the fight. Frank will tell you straight. Look in your face and say, we're going to knock this guy out clean. We're knocking Dillian White. It's not a problem. We're going to beat up Dillian White. Frank ain't saying that. Frank is saying, I hope. Frank is talking about if he comes through. And Frank is saying things, let's see how he comes through this one. And he's saying things like, let's see what happens when he gets back. He gets hit back. Let's see. Look at Frank's face. Frank ain't looking like normal Frank Warren. Look in the camera and look down the camera and tell you, yeah, he's knocking a guy out. Yeah, we're taking this guy out. We're confident we're going to knock this guy out. He's saying his son, and Ben Davison are confident. He's not saying he's confident. The boxing world are pretty confident, and Ozitama. But Frank's not saying that. You have to watch between the lines. I'm expecting a tough fight. I like to see Moses on the other side. Dillian White will test him. We've seen him go 6 rounds. But, he can box if he needs to. Like, Frank is now doing the promoter's job. He's selling the fight to you. He's selling the fight to you. That's what he's doing. He's selling the fight. So in that case, it changes everything, doesn't it? It changes everything because he's selling the fight. And if he's selling the fight, he's got to say these things. Let's stop for a moment and think, when has Frank Warren, go through Frank Warren's boxing history, when did he chuck a guy in like that? For what reason? Just randomly stick a guy that's had a handful of pro fights. Not gold medalist. Not Olympic silver medalist. Not even Olympic bronze medalist. Think about this for a second. When has Frank Warren ever done this? He doesn't do it. But there's so much money flying around. And Turkey Al Sheikh wants to see Itama versus Usyk. And the only way now that can happen is if Itama now beats Dillian White, then you've got Parker out the way. So then you've got Usyk versus Itama. Think about it for 1 second. Boxing fans, listen to me what I'm saying here. Go and look at that interview on Talk Sport with Frank Warren's face. He can't look straight down the camera and say what he's saying. He's got his head down, he's looking to the side, he's looking up. This is not the Frank Warren. So this fight, believe you me, this fight is out of Frank Warren's hands. And I think he's hoping and praying that Moses can pull this fight out. Because this is out of Frank Warren's hands. Believe me, this fight is out of Frank Warren's hands. And if it was in Frank Warren's hands, there is no way in hell they would be putting Dillian White in with Moses Atama. None. Absolutely none. I'm going to go back and try and search my old friend AJ Carter, who was dubbed back in the day as the next British Mike Tyson. He looked a bit like Mike Tyson, was built a bit like Mike Tyson, but again, that all fell apart. So I'm going to go back and look at AJ Carter again. and look at how they were building him up, because I see similarities here. Moses probably has done a little bit more as an amateur, but they both could punch. They both were knocking people out until he got hit back on the chin. AJ Carter, and then we know. Aye, people in the room, please smash the like button. There's people talking in the room. Smash the like button, please. Smash the like button. And somebody's got PSV Eindhoven here. Is that a club you'd like me to manage? PSV Eindhoven? PSV hasn't done anything for years. So that'd be a good club to manage, actually, PSV. Be a really good club to manage. So yeah, you're in the room, smash the like button, please. Smash the like button, smash the like button, smash the like button. So yeah. So for my boxing people out there, have a think about it. Come back to me. Go and look at the interview yourself with Frank Warren. I'm not saying that this makes a difference. I'm just saying that if a legendary matchmaker and promoter in Frank Warren, who manages many heavyweights and many fighters, it's not rolling off the tongue, oh, we're going to knock out Dillian White. He's not talking that greasy stuff. Frank's saying it's going to be a tough fight. That's not promotion. That is not promoters talk. That is keeping it very real. That's not promotion. That isn't the difference between promotional talk and oh yeah, Moses is the next coming to Mike Tyson. Yeah, Moses will destroy him. He's not talking that stuff. He's been very respectful of Dillian White. Very respectful. And he knows that Dillian's been training very hard for this fight. And if it's true that Moses Atalma has not got a good chin, and he's got a soft chin, he's got a weak chin, and he doesn't like pressure, he doesn't like getting backed up and being punched up. If it's true, if those things are true, and it's different with a head guard to a real fight, if those things are true, or the young man's being rushed, or the young man can't do 12 rounds, if those things are true, if they are true, then Dillian is literally taking food out the baby's mouth, if it's true. Just think about that for a second. And I don't have any faith in Ben Davidson. None whatsoever. I'm sorry. You've seen Ben Davidson with Joshua and was it? You know, as you say, it's all what the Sheikh wants. Before him, I felt we were waiting almost 12 months for a decent fight. The past few years have been next level. They have been next level. It's what the Sheikh wants. What the Sheikh wants is what the Sheikh gets. Unfortunately, boxing fans, some of your fighters are going to get absolutely destroyed through this process. The Sheikh doesn't care about how boxing is made up. He doesn't care about that. If he wants a fight, he's going to get to see a fight. However, there's one thing I'd like to mention. We still haven't seen Joshua versus Wilder. We still haven't seen Joshua versus Fury. Despite all what the Sheikh is doing, those are the two fights we still haven't seen. And you say the fights we really want to see. Why are we not seeing Usyk versus Parker? Isn't that a fight you'd want to see? Wouldn't you rather see Parker versus Usyk than Moses Atalma? Which basically tells us that it doesn't matter where you're ranked in the world. It doesn't matter how good you actually are. If I like you, you're going to get a fight. Even if you can't win. So, this is going to get people hurt. I've said it before. Rock on. Keep going. I didn't like him at the beginning, but he has only done good for the sport. More young people getting into the sport is what we need. Yes, but you're not seeing the end product here. He's invested a lot of money in. He's going to want his money back. And so therefore, if they're trying to break the Ali Act, and by breaking the Ali Act means that you can start taking advantage of fighters and paying fighters pittance, paying fighters low wages, and then they make their money on bonuses like knockouts and knocking guys out inside 6 rounds, or stoppages or TKOs. That's how it might go well going in the future, because they're gonna want their money back. It's you gotta throw the net out wide, yeah. It's like a fisherman. Throw the net out wide and catch as many fish as possible, which has caught the eye of the fighters. He's caught the eyes of the promoters, and then pull them in. And then once you ring them in, they're like, "Ah, yeah, Turkey's." Do you remember Eddie? You remember people jumped from Frank to Eddie? Do you remember that time where Eddie had all this money from DAZN and all these fighters jumped to Eddie? How many of those fighters got bashed up in the process? How many of those guys who were potential pay-per-view superstars got punched up, bashed up, smashed up to bits? How many of them? Can we start? Talk about Kell Brook. Got absolutely smashed to bits. For what reason? For what purpose? We could go on and we could go on and on of fighters that were good fighters that could have been built up quick, built up nicely, but getting absolutely destroyed, smashed to bits. Like for what? Taking fights that they were not. They were getting world title fights, but they never stood a chance of winning those world title fights. Very quick way to get a person off contract. Very good way to get a guy getting paid good money. Good exciting fighters coming up. And also you see them, oh, you see him in a world title fight. Oh, what the hell is he doing in a world title fight? The guy's not even British level. He's fighting for a world title, and he's got no back, no like amateur pedigree like European or like Olympic gold, Olympic silver, nothing like that. Just a good old guy that fights. Got gloves, will fight, and they actually get absolutely destroyed. See all that thing about Matchroom and all the fighters running to Matchroom. What happened now? It's all gone quiet now, isn't it? It's all gone quiet because everyone wants to shift over to Frank and the zone and Frank being Frank over there now, right? With Queensbury. Now we got Turkey, who effectively, as far as far as I'm concerned, has wiped out what all the governing body's got to say. It's about Turkey's governing body. If Turkey wants to fight, it's going to happen. If Turkey don't want to fight, it's not going to happen. That's what it seems like. Turkey is the rich version of Eddie Hearn. Now, he might be worse than Eddie. He might be worse than Eddie. Eddie's an encounter, I get it, but he might be worse than Eddie. Because Eddie makes fights to make money and to counter contracts. This guy will make fights regardless of rankings or experience. He'll make fights because he wants to see them. Yeah, he wants to see them. So I want to see this fight. So maybe who before you know a guy who's had 5 pro fights might end up be fighting for a world title because he did well in the Olympic Games. But he'll end up taking 5 fights and fighting for a world title. That's the sort of crap that we could be seeing because what is Moses Atama? 10 fights, 12 fights, hasn't gone past 6 rounds, hasn't gone 12 rounds, hasn't gone 10 rounds, hasn't been hit back on the chin, hasn't been in a decent fight. I mean, even like to get your pro license, you've got to show yourself to be capable. Even as a trainer, you have to show yourself to be capable. I found it weird that all boxers were saying happy birthday to Turkey, but all the happy birthdays were posted on his Turkey account. He has so much control of everything already. That's what I'm saying to you. Who keeps Turkey in check? Who keeps Turkey in check? Somebody else from Saudi Arabia is keeping Turkey. Who keeps him in check? Who's going to keep him? Because Frank can't keep him in check. Eddie can't keep him in check. De La Hoya can't keep him in check. Bob Arum can't keep him in check. Oscar De La Hoya certainly can't keep him in check. So with all those big wigs, all of them put together, they still can't keep Turkey under wraps. So you tell me. And they've all got their old section of mafia people, I guess, all their own goons. So you tell me, you can have domination of the media, domination of the organization, boxing organizations, domination of the promoters, domination of the fighters. You will fight when and where and how and when or why. Why? Because I'm paying you. And I'm Turkey, I'll make a fight. Yeah. That's too much power. Especially too much power for somebody who doesn't seem to understand the ropes of boxing or the intricacies of boxing. Because if you can start tweeting about Italma and Usyk That tells me right there, from a guy who was talking about Larry Holmes and talking about how great he thought Larry Holmes was and the jab of Larry Holmes and the history of boxing. That's how he came into the sport. Now he's coming to the sport talking about Moses Atama and saying how Usyk shouldn't fight Parker. You come and you tell me, man, it ain't right. It ain't right. It ain't right. It's not my business, but I'm just saying as it is. Let me know what you all think in the comment section as always. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave your comments. I'm out.